Well, welcome to Church360 Unite. Unite your online presence. This webinar today will show you how you can expand your ministry efforts with Church360 Unite, our church website builder from Concordia Technology Solutions. My name is Peter Frank. I'm the manager of CTS, Concordia Technology Solutions. We are a division of Concordia Publishing House. We've been producing church software for over 30 years now, and the presentation today will focus on Church360 Unite, which has been out for almost 4 years at this point. Actually, I did my math wrong. Almost 3 years at this point. So my contact information is up there. You can email me or call me at my direct extension. I always love talking with people. I don't get to do it enough, so by all means, please drop me a note and ask any questions that you have. Now, we're going to be talking about church web design today. And I've been doing church web design for a little while now. I'm going to show a picture. This is the first church website that I ever built. This was my home church back in Barrington, Illinois. And me and a gentleman named Stephen Marks launched this website in 2000. So it's hard to believe that was 16 years ago, but I still am pretty impressed by it, considering that I was just a teenager at the time, and really we didn't know too much. Web design was pretty new and was just becoming a little bit more common for churches to get into. But I present this today to show you that a lot has changed during that time, but some things haven't. First off, church web design can be easy. And I say that as somebody who has done a lot of church web design over the years, and starting back then, like I said, when I was a teenager, and it really can be easy. But I'm going to qualify that. It can be easy if your only goal is to have a website. You know, getting a website online, posting it with your church name, your service times, your phone number, that's not really too hard. You can do that in a matter of minutes, really. But the only benefit of that is about the same amount of benefit you have from the sign that you have out by the road of your church. It gives the basic information about your church, and that's about it. So if your only goal is to have a website, and again, that's your only goal, then you are missing opportunities to connect with your members. There are a lot of great things you can be doing with your website to build that community of believers that you already have in person at your church, but this allows you to continue that community outside of Sunday worship. You also are missing opportunities to improve your communication. With today's technology, there are so many great things you can do to get the message out to the people who need to hear it. And if your only goal is to simply have a church website, you're going to miss those opportunities. And more importantly, you're going to miss opportunities to engage your community. And that's really what we're here for. We're here to bring the gospel message to those who need to hear it. And that's everybody. We all need to hear that saving message. And a website is a great way to do that, to share that with people who may not be willing to come and stop by your church in person, but are still searching for those answers, searching for that message of salvation that is only found in Jesus Christ. And so that's the main reason why you want to have a great church website. So today we're going to be talking about online communications and how you can utilize the different methods of communication using our product. So first off, let's talk about the few different types. We talked about website. That's kind of the standard, the basic. Got to have a church website. You know, it's just like having a sign outside of your church. But there's more to it than that. You can also have a blog, and blogs are where you can actually have a little bit more of a personal message. Now, blogs can be used for a variety of different things. We've done a whole webinar on that before. You can find it on our YouTube channel. A lot of great things you can do with blogs, and we'll touch on a little bit of that today. It's also a great place for you to have a member hub, a place where your church members can log in and interact with each other and communicate, collaborate. There's some great tools with that. So that's number 4. File sharing is another big deal. You know, when you're in an office setting, you usually have shared servers. But in a church, it's a little bit different. The church staff will most likely have some kind of solution for that. But what about the volunteers who are not in the church office because they have other jobs during 9 to 5? You know, those are the people who are not able to attend today. But they're still very important to the mission of the church. And so how do you go about sharing files? And there's a lot of different solutions out there for that. Your church calendar, you know, no longer is it possible to just have that big calendar on the wall where the church secretary handwrites in the events and manages that way. I know some churches still do it that way, and there's a lot of better options out there. Lastly, mass emailing. Getting that communication into the inbox of your members or your non-members, the people who've signed up for your mailing list, is critical. So those are 6 different things, 6 different methods of online communication. There's more than that, but there's individual solutions for each one of those that you could have for your church. And as we went about building church software, we saw that, and we realize that it can be kind of clunky to connect all those together if you're buying individual solutions or subscribing to individual solutions. And so what we did is we went about and connected all of those. That's why we call it Church360 Unite. We look at those main areas of online communication and connect them into one fantastic church website builder. So that's our definition of Church360 Unite, an all-in-one website builder that gives you the tools to unite your online communication. And that's, I say website builder, I want to make sure that it's clear that it's more than just your website, but it all can be housed in that one location. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is kind of our agenda for today. First, we're going to look at how you go about setting up a church website with Church360 Unite. Then we're going to spend the bulk of our time launching a communication campaign within that website that we just set up today. And in doing so, we're going to explore all the different areas of the software. So we talked about this being a complete overview of Church360 Unite. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to look at it from kind of a real-life example, somewhat of a timely example, and that way you can see how to put Church360 Unite to practical use. At the end, we're going to have some question and answer time. So my plan is for that first section to take up about 60 minutes or so. And then I've dedicated another 30 minutes at the end for question and answers. So we may end up a little short of the first 60 minutes. We may end up a little over. Depends on how long I talk. But I do want to make sure that you guys all have a chance to ask your questions and get answers. If you have questions as we're going through, please go ahead and put them in the question box. Now, I do not plan on answering questions as we go because I want to make sure I don't get derailed. It's easily to get distracted during these kind of presentations, and so I want to keep the focus on our outline. But then during the question and answer session, you can ask anything you want. But as you think about them, go ahead and put them in. And if I don't get to all the questions during that time, I'll be happy to respond via email afterwards. As we're going through this, I want you to ask yourself the question, how can I use Church360 Unite to support my ministry? And that's what's really great about Unite, is that it's flexible enough to accommodate the way that your church does things, because every church does things a little bit different. And we are well aware of that. And in any of our software, we look at building the tools for you to use as opposed to outlining the path, because there's no way that we know the path to every congregation, because it varies greatly. Even within the same city, even on the same street, ministries are different because they're based on different goals of how to communicate that gospel message. The central goal is the same, but how you go about implementing it really is different. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to jump over here and pull up my web browser and make sure that communicates. So this is our Church360 Unite website, and you can access that by going to concordiatechnology.org. Go to our main page here and click on 360 Unite. You can also just type in 360unite.com in your browser. And the reason I bring this up is because the first step is to start a free trial. And it's a very simple form. You fill it out here. Now, after you start that free trial, you'll receive an email. So I already submitted this earlier on, and you'll get this email that looks like this. This is Unite for Light of Christ Lutheran Church. That's going to be our fictional church that we use today. After you click on that link, whoops, I kind of jumped ahead there, it'll take you to this preview session, or to the setups, and this is where we're going to start today. So the first thing you'll do as you set up a trial is you'll enter in your information, and I'm going to go ahead and just put a password in here and click continue. All right, and it's asking if I can save my password. Sure, we'll go ahead and save it. So now we'll put in some basic information about the church, and I've already got this kind of pre-populated. I'm going to copy paste a lot of this just for the sake of time. Here we go. So our fictional church, Light of Christ Lutheran Church in Bakersville, Missouri. Don't try to Google it, you won't find it. All right, we'll hit continue. So the first thing we do after you've got your information is we give you the opportunity to pick from a sitemap that we have predefined. And our goal is to help you get up and running right away. And so we've got a few different things. And you'll see here that they're not that different. Member focus, visitor focus, mission focus. What it really does is it allows you to see a sitemap with some key categories and some pages underneath it. And I encourage you to take a look and see. Now, each church has a different goal. The website goals are a little bit different. Some are much more about just sharing the gospel message, and so we've laid it out in that way and kind of minimized your church in that and focused on Jesus and his message. Some churches may want their website to be visitor focused, and so we've arranged the sitemap in that way, and others may be about focusing on members. And so today we're going to use the member focused one just because that's kind of going to be the bulk of our discussion, is how to engage your church community that's already there. All right, we'll go ahead and click continue, and the site is going to be prepared. And what it's doing during this time, and it may take a minute, is that it's creating sample pages from that outline. After it's done that, you'll see that it's already got your navigation in place. It's going to give you this chance to pick your theme. We've got 10 different themes here. All of them are mobile responsive, which means that they work just as well on your phone as they do on your desktop. And you can kind of browse through and see what each one will look like. And so they give you some placeholder text for images and other things. And they each serve kind of a different purpose. They have a different feel to them. I would encourage you to look at each one and see what works best for your community. Some of our most popular ones are the ribbon and the modern. Some of my favorites include this one, the urban, and then also the one we're going to use today, which is light. So light is what we're going to do. It's one of our newest themes. So we'll hit finish, and it will wrap up and give me this main page. All right, so we're going to take a look at this home page and kind of tweak it and make it work a little bit better for us in a few minutes. But we're going to start out here by going up into the settings area. Like I said, I'm planning on going through the whole thing. Settings are probably the most boring thing you'll look at this whole time, and that's why we're going to start off with it, kind of get it out of the way. And settings is where you have your account information. You can see how much of your space that you use. Our trial accounts allow for 500 megabytes. There's all the contact information, and you'll see there that it automatically populates into your footer. We'll talk about calendars later on and what that means for your church. There's a place for you to enter the appropriate DNS information for your domain. The website that comes out of the box, the address, will be your subdomain, which in this case is lightofchristwebinar.360unite.com. But if I wanted to go to lightofchrist.org, if that domain was available, I could set it up here. So that's more for later on when you've already decided to purchase and you want to tie it to a domain. But we give you the tools right here to make it real easy. Same with Google Analytics. A lot of the website builders out there provide good analytics, but what we have found is that there's nothing better than Google Analytics. And so it's a free service that Google offers. It's really easy to connect your site to it. We put the instructions up there. That's what we use to monitor our website. I think there's thousands and thousands of organizations who rely on Google Analytics for tracking any of the visitor information on your site that you can track. So that's what we recommend. And lastly is the integration tab, and this is to allow you to sync with Shepherd Staff, one of our church management software options. If you have Church360 members, that sync happens automatically. But with Shepherd Staff, you do have to apply a token to sync up and share your member information. I'm happy to answer questions about that in more detail later, but I think that's all I'll talk about with that today. All right, so themes is the next thing I want to look at, and that's the second from the right. So you can change your theme at any time. It's any one of these 10 themes. They're all free to use with Church360 Unite. We don't charge any additional per theme. You can also create your own theme if you have that skill set. The way to do that would be to just clone one of the existing themes to use as a starting point and build it out yourself using HTML and CSS. Again, that's not really the point of today's webinar. I do want to let you know that's an option. But you can switch through here and pick a different theme and click apply, and it'll automatically update, keeping your content and your pages and everything. It's just the look and the feel that changes. You can also customize your theme from this next one, and it gives you a little bit of a preview there we're going to go ahead and select one of these options. There's a lot of great options here. Sunburst is one, blue particles, blue sky is one I've used before. I really like that one too. Today we're going to go with autumn. I love the colors on this one. It kind of matches with the imagery we're going to use today, and so we're going to pick autumn. But from here you can change some of the different colors, the background color, the header color. I'm going to change the font. I'm a big fan of sans serif fonts, so we're just going to go with the basic Arial. And it allows you to upload a banner or, in this case, a logo. And so I'm going to go ahead and just click upload. And I already got it set up with some of the images I'm going to use. You'll see some of these later on. So I'm going to go with the Light of Christ logo that we've created. I'll hit Save Changes. And let me just save this, show you where we're at right now. So here you go. We changed the background color. We've added the logo up at the top and just made it a little bit nicer, in my opinion. Let's go back to themes real quick. I want to talk about two other things. If you choose to clone a theme, save as, and create your own theme, you can go in here and edit it in great detail. What we call is, these are one of the default themes, and that means that any updates that we make to the theme will automatically be applied to your site. And we're very careful with these updates. They're only improvements or fixes if we find a slight bug in there. We won't change the look and feel of your site tremendously, but this will allow you to get those regular updates without having to maintain the site yourself. But if you have your own custom theme, you can modify it here. Lastly, here under Advanced is where you can add some custom code without changing your theme or going to a cloned theme or a custom theme. And if you don't know what to do here, don't worry about it. It's not going to be that important, but sometimes you can add some nice add-ons to your site, and they require certain JavaScript or CSS changes if you want to do custom fonts or something like that. You can easily apply that in here without affecting the rest of your theme. So again, that's not the point, but I did want to make sure to mention that. So I think that's all for themes and settings that we're going to talk about right now. Let's take a look at our home page and make it look a little bit nicer. We utilize what we call edit mode, which is a different view of your site that allows you to just go in and update it in line. And so over here on the right there, or on the left, pardon me, there's a tab that's called Edit Page. And when you click on that, you'll see some additional options. So first up at the top are different layouts, and that allows you to pick how many different cells in your site you can utilize. And you can change the shape a little bit and see how it looks different. The one I'm going to use today is this one with a big section across the top and 3 small sections. Now it remembers what you have in that section until you change it, and so you'll see the place for the image holder was over on the right before, now it's down below. So we're going to be doing that in a second and making some changes to that. You can say whether or not the page is published or draft. Most pages default to draft. In this case, because we use the sitemap, they're all published. And then you've got your actual address. So this will be the home page and the title, and you can change that to be something like welcome. Then your meta description, and this is important for search engines. If somebody is Googling your church, this will be the description that shows up. And so I already typed this out ahead of time, so I could just copy paste. Join us for worship Sundays at 8 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. with the Christian Education Hour starting at 9:15. There's a lot of theories out there on what you should put in there. It's all about getting to people to click on your link in the search engine. So I'm going to go ahead and just save that, and it'll refresh the site. Nothing really changed too much other than I locked those changes in. But let's make this a little prettier. All right, we're going to go ahead and delete all this copy in here and add a nice image. And this is what, like I said before, is called edit mode. When you click in here, you get this WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get. And it's very similar to writing an email or using a Word document. And there's all sorts of different tools up here. You can have pasted in different ways. You can have links or anchor text, images, audio, video. You have access to the code. So if you over here under source, if you know what you want to put in, you can go and manipulate the code. Pardon me, that was the embed media icon I was looking at, and that allows you to like embed a YouTube video or something like that. Tables, line breaks, special characters, and then all those basic word formatting or text formatting is right there. But we're going to add an image real quick. So I'll click the image button. I'll go over here to upload, and I'm going to do this one right here. And this is just a banner that I put together, and I like it. It's about a new Bible study that's starting up. Get rid of that extra line in there, and we'll do the same kind of thing in here, where I'll go in and add an image. I'll upload it, and we're going to do the serving one. Get involved. Just put that in there. Let's do another one up here. We're going to do day school. So our church, Light of Christ, has a day school associated with it. And let me, looks like I've got it out of line. I'll take care of that in a second. And last one's give online. So we'll go ahead and add all these images, and it just gives it a nicer, more welcoming thing. Like I said, you can access the source code, so if you know what you're doing in here, in this case I'm going to remove the paragraph lines so that everything can align properly. There we go. Good, so let's go ahead and save that. So there's our images. Right now they're nothing but images, but you can make them be links, and so I'll click on this image and click on the link button here and say, what do I want to link to? Well, I want to link to a page within my site for this. And so it gives me all the options for pages, and right now I'm just going to put this under Adult Ministries because it's an adult Bible study. And that allows me to link this image to that page. So, all right, we'll hit save. We'll go out of edit page. And we'll refresh real quick. There we go. So that's what my site looks like. And there's a nice link to that Adult Ministries page that we don't really have any content yet. So you can make your site look really great by just adding some nice images to it. And I know I did that very quickly. I'd already prepared these images ahead of time. I did want to highlight a few things. These are not sponsors or anything like that, just some nice tools out there. Canva.com is where I created those. And you can see here, you can log in, so it's canva.com, and they've got this little funky animation that happens in the background as you're scrolling over stuff. It's free to use. They've got some stock photography in there that costs money, but you can upload your own images and create some really cool graphics, make your banners look nice. Those photos, we got those from lightstock.com, and that is a paid service, but they've got some great images. If you've got a photographer at your church, I recommend you utilize them. Some nice images and some graphics can make all the difference on a website. So I know I made that look really easy. I wanted to give the disclaimer on how I created that. I'm not a designer by any means. I'm not very artistic, but using those tools, we can make some really nice images. So there's our homepage. That's how easy it is to get a site set up and running. And now this is more than just your basic sign outside the church with your worship times and all of that, but that gives you a brief overview on how to use those tools. So now we're going to move into the next section. This is where we're going to spend the bulk of our time. So let's go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint. We're going to talk about launching a communication campaign. And doing this, we're going to go through all the other tools that are available. So I wanted to do something that was a little bit more timely. And what we're going to look at doing is launching family Lenten services. Now, if your church is not familiar, if you're not familiar with that, if your church doesn't do this, let me give you a little bit of background information on this. Essentially what this is like a 4 o'clock Wednesday Lenten service. And if you have a school at your church, it's a great way to connect the school families with your church family there. And so it's right after the end of school day. It's a worship service going through the Wednesdays in Lent. There's age-appropriate messages where the pastor understands that there's a lot of kids in there, and so he kind of tailors that, has a good children's message in there, and make sure that the sermons themselves are tied to a point where parents can understand how to apply that with their kids. And then lastly, there's usually a dinner following that. And again, it's a good time for fellowship, connecting that school family with the church family. So I want to make sure to define what family Lenten services are, just in case you weren't aware. All right, so what are we trying to accomplish here? So first off, we're going to show how you can create a place for the planning committee to go. Actually, I jumped ahead of myself. We'll talk about that in a second. But it really does revolve around the planning committee. So the planning committee consists of a bunch of different people. So we've got Pastor Kent. We've got Rebecca, who is the Director of Christian Education, the DCE. You've got Tim, who's in charge of the music, Tanya, who's a teacher at the school and is kind of working as the liaison for the school families. You've got Kimberly, who's a mom and just a volunteer who's really excited about getting this up and running. You've got Judith, the church secretary, who really manages all the church communications, and then you've got Rosa, the school secretary, who manages the school communications. To pull off a successful Lenten worship service, you really need all these people involved to kind of spearhead it. Now here's the problem that a lot of churches face, and I know this is a fictional congregation with fictional people, but it's based off of some reality that I've seen in many congregations, including my own. When you have these different types of people working on a project, it's hard to get them all in the same place at the same time to work on it. So in this situation, you've got these two who are really busy working during the day, Tanya and Kimberly, the mom. Now that's not to say that the church workers like the pastor, the DCE, or the music director, or the two secretaries aren't working during the day, but those two are working on things that are not related to the worship service, whereas the others 5 can take time out of their day to work on that because it's really part of their job responsibilities. But my wife is a teacher, and I can tell you she has very little time available during the day to work on anything else. All right, well, then you've got another problem. You say, okay, well, we aren't going to do it during the day. Let's meet at night. Well, you've got a couple people here who are hourly employees, Judith, the secretary at the church, and Rosa, the secretary at the school, and they really can't come back in the evening because they're limited in terms of their hours. And so that's a problem. Well, it's also a problem to meet in the evening for some of these people, these younger parents who have children at home who need to eat and go to bed on time. I can tell you from personal experience that since we had kids, it's a lot harder to do evening meetings than before. So Rebecca, our DCE, is single. She's available anytime. She doesn't have kids at home who are waiting on her, but she's the only one who doesn't have those restrictions. And so the hard part is really trying to get everybody in the same place at the same time. And that's where online tools like Church360 Unite can be very helpful, in that you can do the work that you need to do without being physically present, but still having the means to communicate. All right, well, let's move on to the next one. This is the one that I thought I was heading into first, and I was wrong. So we're going to look at a few different things. First, we're going to talk about how you invite users to your church website. And that may be a little bit different concept to you if you've done church websites before that are much more about just having that kind of billboard effect. We're going to show how to create a planning group using the groups feature in Unite. We're going to set up a worship event. We're also going to set up a planning event. That's just going to be a one-off thing, and I'll show you the difference between those two. We're going to show how to create a landing page. And a landing page is a term that we use in the online marketing world. I use landing pages all the time. Chances are you've been on many of them. In fact, to sign up for this webinar, you went to a landing page. And it's really a central location that you're sending everybody. That's kind of where they land, that gives the information that they need and creates a call to action that's asking them to do something. We're going to show you how you can actually engage site visitors, and this sounds a lot more complicated than what it really is, but we're going to make sure that you don't miss the opportunity that people who are coming to your website can see about this event. I'm going to show you how to create a blog within your site and how to use that blog to announce these events. And lastly, I'll show you how to invite your members to attend these events via email. All right, so let's get started. We'll go back into that, and I keep these Let's Get Started pages in here to remind me that this is the time that I need to switch back to the browser. All right, so here we go. Back to our Light of Christ Lutheran Church site. So the first thing is to invite the users to our site. Now you can, if you have this tied to your church management software, you'll have a lot of users already in place. But in this situation, we are going to invite just the planning committee to start. Most of our customers who use this will invite every member of their church who has an email address and allow them to log in and see different content. So we're going to go ahead and add this, and this will take a second. I'll try to go as quickly as possible. We have these email addresses that we can use that are dummy email addresses. Allows me to create actual users, because it does require a real email address to invite people to your Unite site. Put an extra space in there. So, all right, we'll get Judith in there. Now you'll notice in there that we have an import from CSV, and I really should have thought ahead to actually use that. I was so concerned about getting all the profiles right that I didn't create the actual CSV file. You can download the template and then upload your members from there. But as you can see, it's also pretty easy to just go in here and type them in, add them all at once. And I've got one more person, Rosa Henry, who we'll be adding right now. Oops. putting my typing skills to the test. So I'm going to invite all of these people. We'll click add. It'll take a second, and all of a sudden now they are all in my users list. That does not mean they're a user yet, because you can add people in here who are not going to be actively using that. So if you know somebody doesn't have an email address, you can put them in there, and they can still show up in the church directory, but they won't be a user. And the reason is that we want to send them one invite only ever one invite, but we want to get their permission levels set up first. So it automatically selects all those that you've added, and we can go ahead and we could change their role to just be a user, that they can log into Unite. But there's two other roles here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see that, because I know that the text is probably a little small. So users, the kind of the default role. You can select none and they can't log in, but publisher means they can edit any page on their site, on your site. It doesn't give them access to some of the tools that I already showed you, like theme or the settings, but they can edit pages. Or you could do administrator, which gives them that manage themes and settings mode. In most churches, it's most appropriate to pick per person what you're going to do. So I'm going to deselect those. And we're going to say that the church staff, like Kent Williams and Judith Hobson and Rebecca Owens, we're going to change those to administrators. So we're going to invite them to administrators. Actually, I think I can only have, I'm on a trial mode, I can only have one administrator. So we'll put them as publisher. They can edit the site. So you see now they've been invited as publisher, invited less than a minute ago, so you can have that record. And if I need to re-invite them, there's a re-invite button right there. We'll go ahead and invite the others as users right now, change the role, put them as others, go ahead, update. And now they've been invited as well. So there I am as the administrator. My last sign was 22 minutes ago. Now you can see here there's also a listed, and that's for the church directory. And I'll go there in just a moment to show you what that's like. Your Church360 Unite site can be your online member directory where people can log in and get contact information there. For example, let's say Rosa Henry works at the school, but she is not a member of the congregation. You can mark her as unlisted so that her family information doesn't show up under your member directory. It's usually appropriate. Now, in some cases, non-members will want their information to show up, and so it's not based on their membership information, it's based on whether they're listed or not. So we're going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to zoom it out a little bit, and we're going to go and figure out where our directory is. Nope, that is not the right page. I'm just going to type it in here. All right, there we go. There's our member directory, and you can see here all the people who are listed. Rosa Henry's not on there because we marked her as unlisted. But you also see that there's the email addresses. We didn't put any phone numbers in yet. If you want to edit a profile, you can click on the person, and individuals who have logged in can do this for themselves. Administrators who have logged in can do this for anybody. So if Kimberly logged in, she could update her own picture. In this case, we're going to go ahead and do that for her. So I can add her phone number in there, 800-325-2399, and update that. I could go in and edit her image. Let's go ahead and just choose a file to upload. So there's Kimberly. And we'll go ahead, select that, update profile, make sure that goes across right. There's her smiling face, and we'll go back to the member directory that I don't have in the navigation. Click that, and you can see now Kimberly's got her picture in there. So looks like we didn't list her phone number though. So that's a great way for members to log in, and if you have one of our church management software, I'll actually group people together by family. In this case, we're just listing them as individuals. I do want to mention, I skipped over that, but I'll do it for mine. If you go in here and you go to edit profile, and you go to update the image, if the person utilizes Gravatar, and Gravatar is a globally recognized avatar, and avatar means the image, you can automatically select that. So if somebody is utilizing that, like I have here, you can update their image without ever having to get a photo from them and upload it yourself. And so especially those who are using their own blogs, they'll usually have a Gravatar, and that's a free service that you can use, and it's tied directly to your email address. And that way, whenever I use this peter.frank@cph.org email address, my photo shows up there. It works out real nicely for Unite. All right, well, let's go back and we'll go to the home page. And that's where we are right now. We've now got our site set up. We've got some people added. Let's talk about groups. So up here under pages, you'll see this is where our navigation is, and you can add different pages. Here's some ones that are not available in the menu right now. And in the top right, there's an add page. Let me zoom in again. I know I have big resolution. I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing here. So we'll click the Add Page button, and there's a bunch of different types of pages here. You can have a blank page, a feed page, which is a blog. We'll talk about that later, and why we don't call it a blog. There's a group page. That's what we're going to do right now, but there's some other pages here that I'll give you some helper text, give you some questions that you can be sure to answer as you're doing that. So for example, worship times gives you some leading copy to say, okay, make sure you put this, don't forget about your location, don't forget how to put where parking is, all that kind of stuff. And those are the pages that are put in there for your sitemap. It's one other way that we try to help by giving you that idea of what a good church website is and the kind of content that you would include. Today, though, right now we're going to start create a group. And when you create a group, it gives you the chance to enter the name for that. And I'm going to put in Family Lenten Service Committee. And we'll just call it that. All right, so now I have the Family Lenten Service Committee group. So what is a group, you might be asking? Well, let's click on it and go take a look. Let's actually click on it. There we go. All right, so this is our Light of Christ Lutheran Church Family Lenten Service Committee group, and it's essentially a site within a site. So that allows you to allow a group of people to have their own online presence within the confines of your site, within the framework of your site. You still got the logo and everything, but now they have access to manage that. And so even if they are not on the church staff, even if you don't want them to be able to edit any other page, they can manage this group. And we'll take a look here at membership settings. There's a lot of great tools in here under the settings and the edit this group. So first off, they can choose as a member of this group how they want to be notified of updates. So they can be updated when anybody, by email when anybody posts a message, when only the leader posts a message, or they can say, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, please don't email me and leave. They control that. That's in their hands. Under the edit this group setting, you can add a lot of different things here. First off, the description. So we'll go ahead and tried to plan ahead and write some copy for this. So let's go ahead and put this in here. There's our name. Here's our description. Actually, that's a little bit too much. I'm just going to do that first part. I'll show you where that comes into play later on. Then you can add some additional pages to this. Like I said, it's a site within a site. So let's say that you have, you want to add a page and you call it Documents. And maybe this is where you put the sermon notes, where you put any sign-up forms for helping with dinners. And then we'll create one that's called Marketing. And this is where all of the marketing materials are, the logo for the service and any banners that you might have. There's some helper text in here. After you add the individual pages, you'll need to update your group before they show up here under the permissions. But there we go. Now I'm going to log in or zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. You can set within the group different permission levels for every single page. So for the home page, you may say, I want that to be public. For the discussion, you can say, I only want group members to use that. The events really is only good for the group members, but maybe the documents, you say only group leaders can see the documents, but everybody, or only Unite users, at least anybody who's logged in, can see the marketing, so they can share it on Facebook. But then the member directory can only be seen by group members. And so you can pick and choose how you want each one to do it. If you don't want discussions or events, you can just hide that so that it doesn't clutter up the page. And you can also choose who can join the group and say anyone who is logged into the site or only people that I've invited. We're going to say only people I've invited at this point. All right, we'll update that group, and now it's time to invite people. So we'll go over here, and I'm going to refresh. Oh, let me go back to edit this group. I forgot. We have these pages. They're not in the menu yet until I check on them, and you'll see now they're in the menu. So I'll update that group. And so we've got, like I said, a site within a site. We're going to go to members first. Right now there's only one member on here. Now you can go in here and see who are the available people. Now they have to be a user, set up as a user to be added to the group. That doesn't mean they have to be invited yet. So you can add them to the group, and when they're invited and they log in, they're already members of those groups. So if you're trying to get everything set up ahead of time before you get more people involved, we give you the option to do that. So we're going to go ahead and add Rosa as a member, add Judith as a member, Kimberly. I'm just going to get everybody on here. And you see there's Kimberly's profile picture showing up. It's great to have everybody have a profile picture. All right, so we'll do that. And then we're going to mark Pastor Kent and Rebecca and change those and promote them to leaders. And you'll see here it indicates which are the group leaders. And that way they can see those documents that maybe not everybody can see. It really just depends on how you want to divvy up those responsibilities. All right, we're going to go over to the home page here, and you have those same edit tools. I'm going to back up a little bit. You have those same edit tools that you had on any other page of the site. Put that as published, and we'll put that as the home. I'm not going to do a meta description at this time. What I am going to do is I'm going to go in here and replace this with an image. And you'll see, actually I jumped ahead, you'll see there's no assets in there right now. And that's because the assets are tied to the group. They're not the images and things that we put on the home page. They're related just to that group. So I already got this in place here. Just show you the fun group logo, or the Journey to the Cross logo. I put that together, again, using Canva and Lightstock, and I'll share those with you again at the end in case you're interested. So there's our logo. Now we'll go ahead and put in information about this group. Remember, this is going to be a public page, and so we'll put this in, make that bulleted. It says, if you'd like to join this committee, please contact Pastor Kent Williams. That was a reminder to add that as an email address. You can go ahead and do the link and say an email address. And let me go get that right here. And we'll put that okay. And so now you can email Pastor Kent right from this page if you want to join. So you've already marked this as published. Now we got to save it. Everything is saved. And now that is our home page. And so people who are not logged in can access this page. People who are logged in can access this page and see some of the other things like the events. They won't be able to see some of these tools down here because they don't have access to it. So it's a great way to really just create this presence, give the people who need to be able to edit it access to edit it and nothing more. All right, we've talked about the members. Let's go over here to discussion first. And discussion is really your message board where you communicate with each other, with everybody in the group. You've got a few different things that kind of highlight it in different ways. If the administrator of the group makes an announcement and the members have their setting to receive an email by it, they'll be able to receive that email. So you can say, meeting time changed to 7 o'clock. And then I can post that and it'll get emailed to everybody in the group who says they want to be notified when they receive that. Or if it's just a discussion and say, what do you think about this idea? And I'll be very vague and I won't share the idea there. But it gets put in there as a discussion point, and then any one of the other members can go in here and reply to it. And so you can have this nice communication all in one place, hidden by the password so that only the people who need to see it can see it. So that really builds that collaboration. Let me also go here to events. That's kind of our next thing. So the group can have their own calendar on here. So this is a Lent planning committee. If you do have the luxury of finding a time to meet, you can go in here and mark this as a initial planning meeting for Lenten family services. And we're going to say that's in the conference room. And I want to create this event to show you one thing later on. So let's say they're meeting Thursday night at 6 o'clock for an hour. And it's not an all-day event, doesn't repeat. And then you can just put something in here. Let me go to my copy. I think I've already started that. Yeah, save me some type. And let's meet this. I put Saturday morning. We'll go ahead and switch that. And we'll mark that up. Should probably try to remember what I had planned for that. So we'll meet this Saturday morning for coffee and start planning everything out. And then say, I want to invite people to this. Well, I'm going to select everybody because everybody in the group is invited to this meeting, and I'm also going to remind them an hour before and the day before because I want to make sure they remember to come. So you can set these as reminders, and it only goes to the people you've invited. And this invitation will send them a note that says, here's the event, the date and time, and give them that option to RSVP. So let me go ahead and create that event. And you'll see it shows up here on the calendar. Let me scroll down. You can hover over it to just see a brief description of that. That'll become important later on. I do want to pull up this and make sure that my invitation came across. Here we go. Let me pull that up. So, hey, Kent Williams, Peter Frank invited you to this event. Are you going? Maybe not. It lets Kent RSVP. And if he says not going, then he won't get the reminders. If he does say I'm going, he can change the reminders to whatever he wants. And so it's a really nice way to do that. All right, we'll close that up. All right, so that's how to create an event. Let's move on to documents. And documents are great. You can upload whatever you want. So documents is a custom page that I put in there, and you want to make sure to put it as published. But you could go ahead and upload a file and link to a file that users can download. And so, all right, I'm going to put this my website copy that I've been working off. Here's my file, and I'll change it, and then people can download this. You can change the name on the link and have it just say website copy, and they can download it. But it's real easy to add a file that people can share. And again, you can choose who gets access to that page to download the file. They're the only ones who have access to that link. All right, well, I'm looking at my time. I'm talking for a while, so still a lot to cover. I'm going to move on from here, and let me go ahead and save that. I was going to show you how to upload an image to the marketing. You guys already saw that on the main page. We're going to do something different shortly too. So we talked about adding an event to this calendar page. I want to show where there's more flexibility with calendars than just this. So let's go ahead, and if I can remember where our calendar was, here we go, up under news. You can see that on the master church calendar that's available to anyone who logs in or to the public, depending on how you have that set up. Let's take a look at that real quick. We'll go to Pages, go to Calendar, and I can mark that as private and say members only or public. So if you want this to be on your public-facing calendar, you can see that. Well, you don't really need the planning meeting available on that calendar. So let's go ahead and go up to Settings and see our calendar options. So you see these are the different calendars. These are some default calendars that are built in based on the connection to Church360 members and being able to have your baptism, birth dates, your actual birth dates, confirmation anniversaries, all on your master church calendar. If you make those visible, you see here it's defaults to visible to nobody. But let's say you want baptisms to be able to be shown to users. Then they can see that. In this case, Family Lenten Service, we want to that's dictated by the group. So only people who are members of that group can see it. But let's go here to worship. And I want everyone to be able to see our worship calendar. I also want everybody to be able to see our fellowship calendar. So you'll see those there. And lastly, education. We'll put that as everyone too. All right, so there's our calendars. I'm just going to highlight if you utilize Google Calendars for your church, and that's a great tool. It's a great collaboration calendar. You can import those events. Now, they will be read-only. You have to go through the verification process to make sure you have access to it, but that option is there, and that way you don't have to move all your events to this calendar to be able to use it. If you're using Google, it nicely displays for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page, and you'll see here you can choose which calendars are displayed. Now, because I'm a member of the group, I can see that Family Life calendar is in there. But if I want to take it off, I won't see those calendars anymore. Let's go ahead and create a new event. This will be our worship event. And let me go in here because I've already started this copy, and I want to make sure that I'm just going to do this right. So, Family Lenten Services, and we're going to meet in the sanctuary. It's a really good place to meet. We're going to call it a worship event because it is a worship event. We're going to start it. The first one will be on February 10th. That's Ash Wednesday. We're going to start at 4 p.m. It's going to run for an hour, but it is going to repeat. And it's going to repeat every single week on Wednesday, and that's going to start on the 10th, and that's going to end on the 16th, because the 24th is Maundy Thursday. Generally, we don't have a Lenten service on the 23rd. We're going to go ahead and put in a description that says, join us for worship as we follow Christ's journey to the cross. Special family service has age-appropriate lessons for the whole family. Stay after for a meal provided by the fellowship committee. And here's where we could go and invite every member of the congregation. We may not be ready for that yet, so right now we're going to set none. And we're also going to set no reminders, because we don't need to at this point until we invite people. So you can go back at any time, invite people, change the reminder settings that are default, and it's really handy. So this is one way you can communicate this to your entire church. So we'll go ahead and create the event. And you can see here, this is the event page. And if you're logged in, you can RSVP right now, even if you have not been invited. You can say, I'm going to this event, because it's a public event. You can also add notes to this. So if you have any questions, or somebody has any questions about the event, you can go in and put this in here and comment on it, and people can reply. You also see who's going under the participants one. Right now we have nobody. If I say I'm going, then you can see that Peter Frank is going to that event. So a lot of great things. You can add it to your calendar. You can email it to a friend. But let's go back here and go to calendars and show you how that looks. So again, I'm not viewing the family lunch service. That would show up in January. If I did, if I go to February, you can see there is my family Lenten service. Well, I want to change one thing. That's a little hard to read. So I'm going to go over here to worship. I'm going to change that to purple, because it's Lent and that goes with the liturgical calendar. Go ahead and refresh. And there's my purple services. So you can distinguish between each color. And if you want to see what they mean, you can go up here and say, oh, purple means worship. So that's that calendar. So your church calendar here is the combination of all of your different calendars based on the permission settings that you have. And so different people can see different calendars and get a different view that's tailored to what they should be able to see. So as a church administrator, you might be able to see all the events, whereas as a lay person, you may only be able to see the public events and the events that are part of the groups that you're in. A lot of great flexibility there, but it's wonderful to have it all in that one place. All right, let's move on now. We're going to talk about pages. We already were there a little while ago, but let's go back here. We talked about how to add a page. We're going to go ahead and add a page that's what I call a landing page. And it's not just me that calls it. A lot of people call it that. We're going to call this the Family Lenten Service page. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that under, let's go under, actually I think I had worship up here. Let's scroll up. It was worship times. Let's create a category called worship. There's our folder. And these are nothing more than a collection of other ones. And when I zoom in, sometimes I have problems with the drag and drop. So I'm going to do that. And can I move this down here? Let's see. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll keep that as a draft right now. So I'll save changes. And when coming back in here, you'll see now I have a worship category with these two things here. We'll go to Family Lenten Service. And it gives me this nice little reminder that it's a draft. And I can go in and edit the page now. All right, well, one of the key things about having this is having a nice header image. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this, and we're going to say, we're going to use that same group one. And you'll notice I uploaded it again because it's not part of that group. I could go here and show any of the public assets that I have, but I want just this one. So there's that, and then let's go ahead and put in our copy here. And we've got some great information, dates and times and everything like that. I'm going to go ahead and publish this because it's still good. Family Lenten Service is a great URL for that. I could put in that description here. There's just copied it from that other place. That way it has a meta description. I'm going to go ahead and save that. All right, so there's our landing page. It's kind of plain. There's still a few more things we want to do. For example, we may want people to RSVP to it. So let's go up here and let's go back to our calendar and pick that first one. And whoops, I was already in February. So here's our Ash Wednesday service. I'm going to copy this URL and just link to it. And we'll go back here to Family Lenten Service. I'll go here to edit the page, and our Ash Wednesday, we're going to say RSVP. And we'll go up and we'll go to a link and we'll say, here's that link. So this is where they can RSVP. We'll hit save, go out of edit mode, and visitors to this site can say, I'm going to go and RSVP for this event. There we go. All right, and I forgot, I got myself into a little double thing here. We'll go back here to this edit page, and you can say, when you go here, open it in a new window. There we go. And I'll click save, and then I don't have that kind of looping thing. It opens up to a new window, and there's that event. So I'm not going to go ahead and do it for all of those, although I would recommend that you give somebody those actions to take. And in the marketing world, we do that. We say that's a call to action. And here we could just call it a link. All right. So before we created the group, we added that title in there. I want to show you the group widget. Our plan would be that all of your different ministry efforts would have their own groups, and then you'd have links to these groups from certain pages. And we've given you this group widget that you can say, I'm going to add this group widget in here, and it's going to give a link to that group page. Well, I want to actually make that a little bit bigger and say, show me that automatic description, and automatically puts that description here. Let's go larger. Automatic description and the leaders of the groups so that I know who's there. So envision a Bible study page where each one of your Bible studies has their own group, and it shows the leaders who are part of that group, and your members can quickly access it from the whatever page you designate. So here's that. You can click on there, go to the Family Lenten Service Committee, and view the additional information, whatever is able for you to see. So that's our group widget. I don't want to go through that too quickly because I know that I've covered a lot of information here, but we are running a little short on time. So we'll continue to move on. That's the group widget. Let's talk about how to get people to this page. You know, a landing page is only good if people land on it, and if you have actual visitors attend and learn more about it. Well, one of the best ways to do that is to attract your main site visitors to that. So if you want to upload a banner on your site, let's say that the Gospel of Mark Bible study has finished up. You can go in here and say, all right, double click on this image. Actually, that's for the link. I'm going to click on the picture thing, and we're going to upload a new picture. And this is following that same kind of theme, and we'll replace that image and say Journey to the Cross. We'll click on it and click link, and we're going to say a page within the site. It's the newest one show up on top because we figure you're going to use it first. Go to Family Lenten Service, click OK, click Save, and go out of edit mode. We'll hide this little dialog button. And now visitors to your site will be told to go visit the Journey to the Cross. They click on that, go to the landing page. They can get involved with the committee. They can go to RSVP. And it creates this nice pattern where all of your information is sending people there. And that's one of the other benefits of the landing page, is that you can send people there from a variety of different places. So if you're going to use social media, and social media has a great place in the church. I wouldn't do it to communicate group information. I would use it to communicate with your members where they're at. And I would link to this page and say, join us for our Family Lenten service, and it'll take them directly here. Last thing I want to talk about, actually there's two more things, I lied, sorry about that. The next thing I want to talk about is blogs. So up here under pages, under add page, we talked about how you can have a blank page, a predefined page, or a group page, but we didn't mention feeds. Now we call it feeds because that's really the proper term for it. It's a feed of content that is ordered chronologically. Essentially, it's a blog, but blogs connotate long format content, and it doesn't have to be long format. So we're going to create a feed, and we're going to call that announcements. And that's a members only page. We can make that public if we wanted to. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. We'll put that under news, and we'll save that. All right, when you go here and you go under news, there's our announcements, and it looks different. It tells you as the administrator there's no post to that feed yet. Well, let's go to edit page, and we're going to call this, let me go up here, we're going to call this our announcement about the 2016 Family Lenten Services. And we'll put here in this copy and say, join us for worship. Join us for worship as we follow Christ's journey to the cross. Learn more about Journey to the Cross. We're going to go ahead and link that and say, link it to a feed within my site. There's our landing page again. We'll click Create. And now it takes us to the new post. Here is the post that we've had. Let's click on that. Now we can edit this post specifically. We can change the URL. We can say, well, let's go ahead and publish it. But I really like to publish things right on the hour. So let's say we published it at 11 o'clock. And that's the date that'll show up here. And you can change the feed if you put it under the wrong one. You can add that meta description. Let's go ahead and do that. That way it shows up well in search results, and save. And so now you have this blog post about your Lenten family services. And if somebody has subscribed to this blog using an RSS reader, and if you're not familiar with that, I'll give you a 2-second overview. RSS readers, when you subscribe to it, it takes you to this this page of code, but you can tie it to a bunch of different apps and it'll automatically come up. It could come on your different devices. So there's a lot of different RSS readers for tablets, and it's curated content. It's content that you want to follow. And so you can just plug this link into your RSS reader, and whenever the church posts a new announcement, a new blog post, you'll get notified of that. On this post, you can also go in and comment. And on your feed itself, let me go back a second. We'll go here to announcements. On the feed itself, you can choose whether or not you want to allow comments, and if you do, if you want to moderate comments. And it's just like any other blog where you can go and have people submit their feedback, and if you're careful, you would moderate it, and that way you don't have anybody posting spam on there. You can save that. And so it's a different way to manage your content than just web pages. It keeps it in that chronological format. I've seen churches who use their blog to essentially replace their newsletter. If it's not replace, it's to cut down on it, and says, okay, here's the a short sentence about the announcement. To learn more, visit our blog, and they link directly to these pages. The last thing I want to talk about here is mailing lists. There's 2 ways to mail people, to send emails to people in Church360 Unite. First off, let's go here to, well, we're already on this page. Let's go back to that group page. And we'll go on to members. So group administrators, group leaders can go in here and email all people. And when you email everybody, I'll turn off my sidekick thing there. When you email everybody, what you're doing is you're utilizing Church360 Unite's email relay program. And what that does is it creates a single email address that sends your email to our servers, and we redistribute it to everybody on the list. And that way it doesn't come across as spam. It's a one-for-one email. It's coming from you because it's coming from your email address. So it appears to the individuals that you're sending that, and when they hit reply, it's sending it back to you. But it allows you to get past those rules that email providers have about sending mass messages. So I know Outlook has a certain number of characters that you can put up in here, and so it works out to roughly 70 people that you can email, and you can't go any over that. This allows you to mass email without paying for a service, without worrying about going into a different tool and keeping your lists up to date. It also puts it in the comfort of your email provider, such as Outlook. So if you're familiar with Outlook, you want to use Outlook, you can do that and still send those mass messages. So you can do that from the groups page, but administrators also have access to mailing lists up here. And you can create as many mailing lists as you want. And so you could say, families is a mailing list. And the people that are included in this mailing list are anybody that you know to have families. And you could plug it in on that. You could also just send it as a group. So you could say, and the Family Lenten Service Committee. Well, then you could create another new list, and from that you can include other lists, which is indicated by that email right there, and people. You really have this unlimited number of combinations for lists, and if you want to go on email, you select that list, you click email, and there's your new email list right here, and you can send to those people, again, using that same email tool. So a lot of flexibility in how you manage lists, who you send to, how you build those lists. It makes it real easy. All right, well, I apologize, I'm 4 minutes over the time. I do want to go back to the PowerPoint real quick. All right, so there was a lot of information that we covered there. If you have any questions, now's the time to submit it. We'll take a look at questions in just a moment, but if you need to get going, let me give you this last bit of information. So here's my contact information. If you are not already a Church360 Unite customer and you want to learn more about purchasing Church360 Unite, you can contact me, contact our sales team. I also recommend that you go to Church360Unite.com and start your free 30-day trial. And you have access to all of the tools within Unite. The only things we limit you to are the number of administrators that you have. You can only have one. And the amount of files that you can upload. You can only upload 500 megabytes. Now that's just for the trial. There are plenty of other plans that can give you more, up to our premium plan, which is unlimited storage space. But with the trial, you're limited on that. But you get a free 30 days, and if you'd like a personal demo, our sales team would be happy to show you through it and in more detail, talk to you live with your questions as you go. The last thing I want to point out is that if you order Church360 Unite between now and February 29th, there is a special promotion going on that allows you to save $199 on the startup fee. And the pricing can be viewed on our website of the different plans. But that's just a special promotion that we're running right now. We don't usually have that promotion going on. So I want to make you aware of that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take your questions. We're going to go back to Church360 Unite. I'm going to go to the home page, and I want to just follow through on some of the questions that you've asked. Again, if you've got any, please go ahead and submit them. The first question that's on here says, could you give those graphic sources again? And I am happy to do that. I hear that a lot, that, well, I'd love to make my website look like yours, but I don't have the graphic skills. Well, I can tell you don't need those skills. So the first website is canva.com. And again, I'm not being paid to advertise for this. They're not an official partner. They're just a great resource. And you can do a lot for free. If you're buying any images from them, they're like $1 each, but it's canva.com. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. It's a great tool. The other one is Lightstock. Lightstock is, they call it faith-focused, cheesy-free stock photographies. I have found some cheesy ones in there, but we use them all the time because they have some great photography. They have a lot of great Christian messages. They're fantastic. Now, they do cost money. They have two different plans, credits or subscriptions. Again, we are not partners or anything. We just utilize them. They're really a great resource. There's plenty of free stock photography sites out there too. They just often don't have that Christian focus. So those are the two. That's a great question. I know I kind of went through that quickly before. Let's go back to Unite and take a look at the next one. So the next question is a great one. This is tied to Church360 Members, our church management software. The question is, all events that we have in 360 Members will transfer over automatically to the website if we select that in the calendar settings in Unite. That's the question, and that is correct. So under settings, you'll see here that there's some different calendars. The ones that are locked are the system calendars, and those are the exact same system calendars that you would have in Church360 Members. Now, in Members, just like in Unite, you can create your own calendars, and I didn't show this before, but if you said children's ministry, you can create that calendar, then you can add events to it and modify it to how you want. And it's the same thing in Members. They share the same calendar. So this children's ministry one that I created here in Unite would also show up in Members. And there's some great ways of tying the two together. You can take attendance on the very events that you created in Unite. Really some powerful integration there. All right. The next question is, we mass email from 360 Members. Should mass emails come from Unite? It's not really a matter of should, it's just that they can. So it works in the same exact way with Members and Unite, that emailing list. You have different tools to create lists in Members than you do in Unite. So in Members, there's tags and smart groups. In Unite, there's mailing lists and groups. So it really doesn't matter whether it comes from Unite or if it comes from members, because they share that same database. It's just a matter what's easier for you in pulling the correct list together. Now, if you're utilizing groups, it makes a lot of sense to just email from the group, because those are the exact people you want. You don't need to worry about maintaining tags. The members control their membership on here. Or at least they control when they leave. And if it's not them choosing when they arrive or leave, it's the church office. And so and make sure that's always correct. But it's really easy to email here. The one benefit with Unite is that group leaders who may not have access to anything else with Unite or members can utilize that same tool. And so for you, if you're in the church office, it doesn't really matter where you do it from, but for volunteers and lay people, it makes it real easy to do it for them because it's based on their permissions, and this is the only group of people they can email. So great question. Like I said, it really doesn't matter, it's just whatever's easier for you. All right, how do you handle media libraries of sermon recordings? That's a really great question. We've got some time, so let me show you how I would do that. So we have here sermons, and sermons, this is kind of an out-of-the-box feed. What I would recommend is you maintain your sermons using a feed, and then each week you can add your next sermon to it. And if you have audio or video, you can do that too. So this gives me a perfect opportunity to show you our YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you go to youtube.com/Concordia Technology, and we'll take a second. You can go here and view any one of our videos. If you did not attend last week's Church360 members webinar, it's very similar to what we did today, except about members. A lot of great information in that, but you can go in here and let's say you want to share, and let's say you want to embed it. Well, you can copy this embed link. Let's pretend this is a sermon video. You go in here to edit, and this is sermon 4/01/2016. Probably would be better to put a title in, but we're just testing this out. You can go over here under Embed Media and place your YouTube video and embed it right there into your sermon. Now, if you have audio, you can do the same thing with audio, but this is where you would upload the file. And if you want to upload your video to this and use our servers for your video, you can click video and upload the file in the same way. But then what that allows you to do is you can put any type of media you want in there. If you've got a PDF for people to download, it can go there. But it's really tied to that date and when you post it. And so we'll go ahead and create that. And you'll see here that's posted today at 11:11 a.m. And you can always change this and say, no, actually that was the other day. I forget what Sunday was. I think it was the 17th. And that was from the 10:30 service. And go ahead and save that. And then it changes your timestamp on there. But that's what I really recommend for managing your media libraries, because it allows you to always have the most relevant content at the top and keep in with kind of, except if I could spell sermon correctly, that might be better. There we go. There we go, sermon. That's a little bit better. So yeah, it allows you to keep all that information in one spot. You could also do this on pages. And so if you wanted to put a personal video up here for our story, you could do that exact same thing and embed the video in there. It works the same way. The only difference is that it's not tied to a date. It's just a static page. And that's okay too. If you want to store media for like your worship team, I know some churches do that. It's such a great idea. You can create a group, just kind of like this family Lent group, and that's the page. Here's the, let me go out of edit mode so I can click on it. There you go. You could create a page that says upcoming songs, and then share, embed YouTube videos of the music videos and put it on that page. There's no copyright violations because you're just sharing a video that's already done. And you can share it all in one place, and your worship team can see what's coming up. So the follow-up question, Les, you have, could this be done on a blog? Absolutely. That's the feed there. You can do it if you have a separate blog too. I don't know if there's any benefit to having a separate blog when you can have a blog right within your Church360 Unite site, but you've got the concept exactly. All right, well, I think I've answered all the questions. You're welcome, Les. I'm glad I answered that question for you. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up a few minutes early now because we don't have any more questions. Let me go back to the PowerPoint, and I will put my contact information on there one more time to make sure that you guys all have that. Give me just 1 second to get there. And that is not doing it for me. Let me just back up here. There we go. There's my contact information. There is the software sales team. We'd love to show you how to use Church360 Unite for your congregation if you haven't already put it in place. I hope you found this webinar helpful. I really enjoyed putting it together, and I'd love to answer any questions that you have. But that is all for today, so thank you for joining us. Have a great day.